Welcome to what will formerly be known Movie Pain or Pleasure podcast and our new show that we're calling We're Not Critics. So this is a two-part episode. One, to make an announcement, AJ has silver hair.
Oh, I didn't even...
I also have silver hair, but I just had to wait until I got into my 40s. But main thing is we are doing a little bit of rebranding. So we've been talking about this a lot, is that we realized our show started out, or the idea was to do guilty pleasures and hate watches, and usually cringy bad movies. And we do that sometimes, but then we just found ourselves going off into different things, like lists of things, and talking about movies that are genuinely good that we actually like. So we just thought, okay, we need to do some rebranding. And so that's why we're going to call our show We're Not Critics. I would also like to thank our first hater and first critic, I'll give the initial J, on our Pinocchio video, who actually, I don't have anything bad to say about him. He actually had some very good points to make. But he did say, I know it's kind of your brand, but this video feels needlessly mean-spirited. So we're not mean, but we are kind of assholes. And I said that in the very first episode. I don't want to get all basic bitch queen Rachel Hollis and say, like, sis, what makes you think I'm relatable? I don't want to be like that and be dismissive, but we're also not nice and sweet. And he also said he hoped we didn't think we were actually doing a good job as reviewers, because we come off not so much as reviewers, but as very unlikable people. So that's when we started thinking, well, we're not really movie critics. We never set out to say we're movie critics. We're not professional movie critics. We have full-time jobs doing other things. Am I a content creator because I write for a website and I've published a book? Maybe, I guess. I don't know, but I don't really play in that space. But we just felt like We're Not Critics would be a better representation of who we are. We're just average movie consumers, average customers who love to watch movies and TV shows and talk about them. And hopefully we're funny. Also, two things won't change. One, I'll always have my little Texas necklace. And 99.9% of the time I'm drinking something alcoholic. So cheers. The name change was your idea. So what were you thinking behind that?
I'm tired of people thinking that we're a show about stuff we're not about. Some risque things.
Oh, yeah, because if you search movie pain or pleasure, some naughty sex things come up on YouTube. So it's the pain or pleasure takes over the movie tagline.
Yeah, I don't... And I just stuck with it because we couldn't think of like a better name that encapsulated the original idea of the show. But since we want to branch out, fuck it. Like,
yeah,
we're moving on.
We're not critics. We just watch a lot of movies and TV and say that that's a legitimate hobby.
We will still do movies that are guilty pleasures or hate watches.
Oh, hell yeah. So, our next episode is going to be a hate watch for sure. It's so awful. Bad. But let's talk about better things. Okay, are we done with the rebranding?
Yeah.
Okay, so since this is a little bonus episode, we're going to talk about...
You want to see something cool?
A movie we really loved, and it's a sequel in the middle of February. How in the world could Puss in Boots: The Last Wish be so amazing?
It's a sequel to a spin-off that is 10 plus years old.
Yeah.
That was also a spin-off that came after 3 movies of the original trilogy.
So, in case you don't know, Puss in Boots came from Shrek.
My God. And now it's the best one.
It's amazing.
It's the best one.
So we love animated movies anyway. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. If you want to know more about how we feel about anime, you could go back and watch or listen to our episode about anime recommendations that we have. But yeah, Puss in Boots is a spin-off from Shrek. And I can really only think of 2 sequels that I sincerely like, and that's The Empire Strikes Back and Sinister 2. So, but this one, the animation was good. The story was really touching, and the villain was incredible.
Like, all of them. Because there's technically 3 antagonists. Because there's the sympathetic antagonist, there's the, oh my god, he's evil piece of shit antagonist.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's, like, the moral antagonist. It's there to, like, push your character.
There's, like, chaotic evil and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. If we're going D&D, yeah.
Yeah,
there's chaotic evil, neutral evil. Whatever.
So John Mulaney does a great job as Jack Horner, who is evil as shit.
Oh, what took you so long, idiot?
Like, people die because of him. They
Which,
kill people
like,
on screen because of him.
He does it a lot.
He does it a lot.
He does it, which is great because I didn't even know who that character was.
Little Jack Horner sat in a corner
I've never heard of that.
stuck in his thumb, pulled a plum.
I
Said,
think
what a good boy am I?
No.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think I knew what the name of it was, like that character name. I'd never heard anything about him, and then he's this giant, ugly as hell, like fat baby cheek face, like with a tiny face, like this big.
He was evil as hell, though.
And it's John Mulaney, who I'm glad to see he's back at work.
Mm-hmm. We enjoy John Mulaney's comedy. So who's the sympathetic antagonist?
The British heist bears.
Oh, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, who have these wonderful Cockney accents.
Make her talk.
Excuse me, my darling. We're looking for the legendary Puss in Boots. Have you perhaps seen him?
Yeah,
And they're a crime gang.
And thankfully, like, every person in the family isn't just British. Like, they have the same accent.
Yeah, it's not like there's the Queen of England accent and Michael Caine.
Like, you know how Game of Thrones does. Yeah.
Yeah, just everybody has a different accent.
You're British, just whatever.
It's all British and stuff. It's all the same.
So they were pretty cool. I didn't actually like Goldilocks that much.
No, but
she was a little annoying. But I like the family. Like, the bears were
Yeah.
cool. Mama Bear's like the one that keeps shit down. But she's totally a part of all this crime. And Papa Bear sounds like he could murder somebody. He sounded like Baloo from Mowgli.
Oh, the Andy Serkis version?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the moral antagonist. Oh my god, he was amazing. Maybe we shouldn't give away who he is.
El Lobo.
Lobo.
He's the Lobo.
Yes.
And he's fucking awesome. I thought his eye thing was gonna be gimmicky. Like his red eyes. I was like, okay, that's it catches your eye, but is he gonna be good? And oh my god, he's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was really good. I won't say who he represents, but you do see this character represented in a lot of folklore, actually in the Pinocchio movie that we didn't really enjoy very much, but also a lot of Italian fables and fairy tales have this certain character in there, also in the Deathly Hallows. So, you know, at first Puss thinks the wolf is a bounty hunter, but he's so much more, and he really helps tell the story. So Puss basically is on his last life. He's a cat, so he has 9 lives. And he learns over time. I mean, it's a really good lesson in appreciating the life you have and the people you love and care about. The only character I really didn't care about was Kitty Softpaws.
She's fine.
She's just kind of the straight man.
Like, she's fine.
No.
Perrito is cool.
Yes,
he's cute.
there's a little chihuahua who's just like happy-go-lucky. Nothing is bad. He's very sweet.
He was gonna get really annoying, but he was fine. He was
No.
cool. And let's see. The only thing that I was kind of like, some of the time was the animation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really liked the new animation style. It looks very Spider-Verse. But sometimes I think they could have swapped it out with like a more normal animation when it wasn't like a really big fight.
Yeah.
Like, or an important one anyway. First fight, cool, because there's like, it's setting up the film, so show off your animation. The last fight, for sure.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
It looks so good. But a couple of the ones with Jack Horner, I would have been okay if it was like a more normal, less comic book action looking type of motion.
Yeah, I remember seeing the commercials and thinking like, did they not have enough budget to do good animation? But when you get into watching the movie, it feels, it has a certain look to it. It does have the 3D animation. It has the kind of that Into the Spider-Verse look, and then
it's kind of like,
I don't know all the technical terms, but it looks different than the first one.
It's kind of like creating motion with less actual motion, like
almost like a comic book where it shows lines when somebody's running
like
fast, and
there's motion breaks. Almost a little bit like claymation-y almost in my head,
yeah.
like and it's pretty cool. I just maybe would have used it a little bit less, but you know, they made an amazing movie, so you can't complain about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't cry with this movie because it has some very adult themes, things none of us can escape the theme that it deals with. So it was some heavy stuff.
This movie and Soul are like
Oh yeah.
movies that I feel like are, animated like family movies that are for the adults almost. Like it's very bright and colorful, and yeah, kids can watch it, but it seems like this stuff would be way more impactful if you're like above the age of 13. Like, so yeah, I think this and Soul are like actually kind of for adults.
They're like twin soulmate movies, so to speak. And it's so hilarious to go back and think, it's fucking Puss. It's Antonio Banderas wanting to fuck everybody as a cat. And it's one of the most impactful movies I've ever seen. I love it so much. And it, kind of the animation style and the themes and everything, it felt like an old-fashioned Mother Goose rhyme or a fairy tale or these old fables or something like the Deathly Hallows, which I know is not technically a fairy tale, but whatever. But it had that old world feeling that the new one, or I'm sorry, the first one didn't have as much. That just felt like your run-of-the-mill animated movie. It was really funny. I loved it. But this one felt different. This one felt really meaningful.
They had a point to make. Mm-hmm. And also, I legitimately think it's better than any other Shrek movie. I think it's better than all the Shrek films. It's not DreamWorks' #1 movie, but it's up there. Because, Prince of Egypt is still a thing, and that's like a masterpiece.
I would rather watch Puss.
I'm sure you would, but
Prince of Egypt,
I still have to recognize,
yes,
like what each one of them is, and I still think that one's like probably a little bit above it. But
they can all have their place and have their value.
Anyway, and this one has the best Jiminy Cricket of the 2020s.
Of all the 1,000 Pinocchio movies that have been out, this Cricket, and they never call him Jiminy Cricket, probably because of copyright versions, but they'll call him like, oh, there's a cockroach on me, or oh, there's a grasshopper, and he sounds like Jimmy Stewart. It's like, well, Jack, I don't think you should be doing that. It's so funny. And then he gets his moment at the end, because there's always like, everybody gets what they deserve in the end, and I'm just gonna put it, heroes, villains, everyone in between.
And they stuck him with the best character ever. Like, they stuck him with an irredeemable psychopath.
Yes.
So comedy writes itself.
It does. So we don't really give scores or anything, but this would be like an A+++, 10 out of 10. I love this movie.
End up being the best movie we see this year. I don't know.
Might be. The year is young. It's only February. But also as a bonus, we went and saw this as an afternoon matinee because it's like 30% off, which is important to me. And we walked around the square in our city, which is very nice, and ended up at a nice Mexican restaurant. And I tried pozole for the first time. It's a soup, and it has hominy in it, and it's wonderful.
You're officially a Texan.
I'm a native born and raised Texan, but for almost 4 years, I've never had pozole, and it was really good. So that was just an all-around good day.
Indeed.
So we'll be changing our social media handles and YouTube handles and all of that, going from Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast to We're Not Critics, so bear with us. We're making changes, and if you have suggestions for movies or TV shows you want to hear us talk about, guilty pleasures, hate watches, everything in between, make a comment on our podcast, send us a DM, all those things. So this doesn't change. If you want to join our cult and be my victim, we will be on YouTube, Twitch, Discord, Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, and hopefully, if I can change the name, on Instagram.
Yes, just look for both. Old and new, I guess.